Jobs NYC. If you have any follow-up questions, we can follow up on that if they are off topic. So Pedro is here. The Mayor?
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you all for coming. I'm joined here by Avitto, who is our executive director. Is that the right title? Of our talent and workforce work. And it's a key priority for this administration. You heard the mayor say, crime is down, jobs are up, crime is down. Uh, that intersection of public safety and prosperity has been a hallmark of this administration, and making sure that we can get New Yorkers access to opportunity and economic mobility. So with regard to this latest announcement that we just did, we've been celebrating, for several months, the highest number of private sector jobs in the history of New York City, and us hitting that number, about 4.7 million jobs that we've been celebrating. But we're also very focused on the neighborhoods and the communities that have historically been left behind, right? The Harlems, the South Bronx, the Brownsville, the Stapleton, in every single borough, the Southeast Queens, all of those neighborhoods where historically they've been left behind whenever we have a big kind of boom in terms of economic opportunity and prosperity. And so while we've hit a record number of private sector jobs, those neighborhoods are still experiencing double-digit unemployment. And so the mayor really tasked us to say, we don't believe that rising tides lift all boats, because that's just not how it works. You have to be very intentional and focused and specific, and making sure that we are making that connection to opportunity. So we launched Jobs NYC, where we're going to those specific communities that have significant levels of unemployment, and we're trying to understand on the ground what are the assets that exist in those communities, and what are the barriers for people to access these opportunities, and how do we work in a very targeted and strategic way to make sure that the individuals in those communities who are experiencing unemployment get access to employment and opportunity. And so you can't do it from City Hall. You can't do it from some room somewhere else. You have to do it on the ground. So we're in those neighborhoods and communities. We're connecting with providers, resource providers. We're connecting with employers. We're connecting with job seekers. And the goal is to, as people come in the door, understand what their skills and competencies are, what they're interested in doing, connect them to opportunity to either get training and development and or get a job right there on the spot. We're hiring at the city. We've got about 15,000 vacant positions. For 15,000, 1-5. All kinds of jobs. We have tech jobs. We have jobs to be social workers, police officers, correction officers. We have jobs to be parks, to work in our park systems. We have project managers. We employ over 300,000 people in the city. We are the largest employer, period, bar none. And we also are at the table, many of our agencies, to make sure that we can connect New Yorkers in those neighborhoods and communities to work for the city of New York to really access that opportunity. And it's really also is connected to all the work that we've done around our union workforce. We've settled about 99% of the contracts. So everyone from teachers to the police officers to DC 37 employees. And we also made a historic investment in the nonprofit sector and the nonprofit workforce. We announced wage increases for them that amount to about $740 million. And that sector is predominantly women, and predominantly women of color, who are the nonprofit workforce. Since we've been in office, that investment, coupled with all of the wage increases that we've done since day one, total about $1.4 billion of additional wages for the nonprofit sector. So we are committed to working New Yorkers. We're committed to making sure that people have a livable wage. We're committed to making sure that people in neighborhoods and communities that have historically been left out have access to employment and economic mobility, and that's the work that we are very proud of, and we've made some real accomplishments. And what we really want as well, in terms of all of your publications, we want you to get the word out. We're having hiring halls every month. They're in one in every borough. We had kicked off last month. In April, we have some dates that are coming up. We want to place, ads in your papers to let people know the hiring hall is coming. We want to have as many people come out as possible. Connect to jobs@nyc.gov to get access to the information about the opportunities.
Great.
Do you want to say?
I'm Avitto. I lead the Mayor's Office for Talent and Workforce Development, and I have the great pleasure of working in this administration that's really prioritized the New Yorkers in talent and really making sure that there's real on-ramps to opportunity. So thrilled that we're doing Jobs NYC, and I want to just underscore what the First Deputy Mayor said. This is a whole of government approach. So it's not just looking at one aspect of government, it's taking all of our tools and resources and then bringing it really into the neighborhoods. I think, the First Deputy Mayor and I very much share that you can't do this work except through a place-based approach and really working hand in hand with the local folks on the ground who really know the neighborhoods best. And that's what we're trying to do here.
So let's start the Q&A part. And just want to take out one question. Yes, we're going to do an advertising campaign for this project. We're going to get follow-on details in the future, and we'll be in touch with all of you about that.
Sorry, Jose.
Because that's the first question.
Yeah.
We do want the advertisement for the hiring halls in April to come up because they're coming up soon.
Yeah, we have. Yeah. Look, this is all hands on deck.
Yeah.
In the whole administration, not only here, every city agency is involved in this. Let's start with the Q&A, and in the meantime, if we can just do this. So let's start with Rico Dupuy from Radio Soleil. Rico?
Yeah. I understand the interest of the administration in reducing the employment divide. I mean, the Black and Latino unemployment, you say, is over 9% and over. But is this business sector in on this really? Or I understand you want to reduce the divide, but would they be interested only in hiring what they believe to be the best? Is there a conflict on this level?
Well, we really are looking at employer demand. And so we are in touch with employers that have, real opportunity and they have lots of jobs that they can't fill and that they're trying to get people to fill. So we sit with employers as well. We understand from them how many jobs and kind of what is the prospects of the jobs. Are these living wage jobs? If somebody gets in an entry level, what's the career path for them to move forward? And they absolutely are committed to engaging with these neighborhoods and communities. They are committed to making sure that there's equitable access to the opportunities that they have. And they know and see that these communities possess talent that has maybe not been as plugged in or accessible to them in the past. So we have, I don't know how many private employers we had at the hiring halls.
20, yeah.
About 20, and there's only because we had space constraints, because there are many, many more. And maybe we can talk about who are some of the private employers who were there.
Sure, we've had private employers from, I have actually for folks, some from the job seeker events that we had. I have a copy of what the job seekers received for both Bronx and not for Bronx, for Harlem and for Brooklyn. So you get a true sense of what it is. So we've had the Lure group that was really looking at anything from RNs to LPNs to cooks. Additionally, we had First Student Bus Company that we were looking at, particularly as we electrify the fleet. We're looking at all sorts of bus drivers and all the private folks related to there. Additionally, we've had folks from Equus Workforce Solutions. So this is the private employers that really help connect people to opportunities. So it's a great opportunity for folks because not only are they there, but they see what other jobs are there. FedCap was there, very much looking for their partners on that. And then additionally, at every single event, we've had our Workforce One system. there, and they constantly take job orders from private companies. And there are 18 locations, and I can share those locations with folks throughout the boroughs. So we have it both at the hiring halls and also the events. As we move forward, one of the things we heard from job seekers is they wanted a broader diversity of private employers. So we're talking to various companies in the transportation and logistics, in healthcare and in tech to come to the hiring halls and events.
And also all of our agencies. We had CUNY there, ACS, Department of Social Services, lots of different agencies where they're hiring as well.
Yeah.
Monica Adamski.
Hello, Monica Adamski. I represent Radio Rampa and TV, a Polish-American media. I'm wondering if there are specific events planned for the neighborhoods where Polish-American community lives, Greenpoint or Ridgewood, Middle Village, those two areas, if you can just quickly answer. But my question is, I saw a lot of interest from our younger crowd. For example, we did a story on NYPD summer employment program, which was received amazingly well. So I would like to ask if you can talk a little bit about the opportunities for youth employment, if that is already too late for this summer, or entry-level jobs, because I know that the administration also lowered some requirements for entry-level jobs, and
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so summer youth employment is really important. We made a historic investment to increase summer youth employment to reach 100,000 young people, all across the city. And I think we've gotten 100, and I don't know, the applications are not closed yet for SYEP, right? They are? Okay, they might be.
Yeah, I think until April.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they just closed.
And I think we had 170,000 applicants. So we're going to continue to look at that and see how we might be able to increase that in years to come if we have more revenue. But that's really important. The New York City Public Schools has been also very focused on youth pathways and making sure that there's a connection to apprenticeships, internships, work-based learning and career exposure. So that's really going to be prevalent across all of our middle and high schools as we move forward. I think now it's about 100 schools where we have a lot of that work happening. For young people who are not in school, we also are trying to increase the number of apprenticeship opportunities. We have a moonshot goal of 30,000 apprenticeships that we want to make sure are made available to young people. So there's a lot of focus on young people and youth pathways.
Yeah, no, absolutely. In fact, the administration, we released a report, a roadmap, a blueprint on it, on youth pathways in December, which really was, we brought together CUNY, New York City Public Schools, and DYCD, because we're all working with the same young people and making sure that there was a real youth development approach and pathways, beginning at least in middle school, all the way through launching into career and also supporting once the launch. So I think that's an historic achievement. It has not been done by previous administrations to really think about it and then put it out publicly. So therefore, everyone is very clear what we think is the roadmap to actually making sure all young people successfully launch into careers by the time they're 25.
Well, and just to answer your question, those neighborhoods are not a focus of this effort, this particular effort at this time. We're really focused on the neighborhoods that have really high unemployment levels as a priority.
Pues Latina, Javier Castaño from Quiz Latino. In the introduction, you described the good news about the highest private sector housing.
Yeah.
But I'd like to know what the administration is doing for the undocumented. That's our readers, people who don't have permit to work. So how do you approach that? But those were the highest unemployment part.
Right. So, I mean, we've done historic wage increases for deliveristas, and so I think we just had an announcement recently where we had had another kind of wage bump there. We also have certainly worked to expand access to childcare for undocumented families, so that people can get to work and make sure that they have the appropriate care. So we were the first to do that, because unfortunately undocumented families do not have access to government subsidized childcare. So that's been another investment that we have made. We work with different industries, like the food industry, to kind of make some connections, particularly with some of our recent arrivals and asylum seekers, and definitely do a lot of work through our agencies to make people aware and educated about, one, being taken advantage of in terms of workers' rights and other things like that. So we have a community workforce, DCWP. What's DCWP?
Department of Consumer and
Worker
Worker Protection.
Protection. Our commissioner there, Vilda Mayuga, does a lot of work there. But other things?
Yeah, I would also add, we've been working, particularly with the new New Yorkers, on getting work authorization,
Yes.
and really trying to get as many folks as quickly as possible work authorization, because then we can really use our federal funds for training. And we've been doing that in coordination with both the state and federal government. Super important work. No, it doesn't solve everything, but we know that that is a key to success. And then our Workforce One system through our small business services has been doing hiring halls for new New Yorkers, so specifically focusing on folks. Additionally, in addition to sort of know your rights, we've also been supporting organizations that provide site safety training for new New Yorkers, so that way they have the site certification, and then particularly once they get work authorization, they're ready to go.
Should we mention Medicaid expansion to seniors? That's new. Before they have Medicaid for emergency.
Right.
For
Yes, undocumented.
Yes, thank you.
Good news.
Okay. So my question is, the areas which have higher unemployment ratios, you are paying attention to those areas are good, but immigrant communities have been confronting with the language barrier challenges. So what measures you are going to take to make sure they should be aware as much as possible about these opportunities, because in immigrant community, unemployment ratio is also higher than average New Yorkers.
Right. So in terms of, well, language access, making sure, and I think we had at our hiring halls,
Yep.
like 14 languages. How was it?
Yeah, there were 14 languages.
No.
We didn't
Okay,
have,
not that many.
we had representation from job seekers, probably about 14 languages, and we try to accommodate and make sure that we have translators there. So that's one of the reasons we're working closely with the community-based organizations, so we can anticipate that prior to the hiring hall, so we can have translators. So at every hiring hall, we've had Spanish, we've had French, we've also had Haitian Creole, and the more we have information ahead of time, the more we'll make sure that at the event itself, there's someone there who can really help navigate. Additionally, as we're looking at the various opportunities, we are trying to understand which ones are good opportunities for folks who may not have the literacy in English, but still could perform the job. So trying to sort of really sort that out as much as possible prior to the event.
Tikana?
Hi, so this is a great news for the tech-savvy people in the communities, but what about the people that are not tech-savvy? They're still not aware of the hiring halls. What can they do or what initiatives can be taken to get the word out to them? I know newspapers, ethnic communities, they do a great deal of work to spread the word out, but what other initiatives can be taken to spread the word?
Well, I mean, we're going to be launching a campaign, and when is it? Next week?
Within the next few weeks.
Yeah.
So most of that goes to my office.
Right. So Jose is working hard on really kind of what we're going to do to make sure that the word gets out and really penetrates. And just in addition, we do flyering at subways. There's going to be kind of robocalls that go out to people in the neighborhood. There's a massive text operation. So I think over the hiring halls, we had like 176,000 people got a text message saying there's a hiring hall in your community on this date, show up. So we're going to continue to do more of that.
Additional, I mean, so public engagement units are out there. We're doing all sorts of strategies, trying to figure out what's the best strategy in the neighborhood we're in. So working with the community groups to do that, working with the public housing coordinators to really reach folks who are living in public housing. Additionally, we're in the neighborhood, so we're right that day out. People are coming in off the street to really come to the hiring hall. So it's a sort of a multi-pronged effort to really get folks there.
Yeah, and just to underscore, we do work with a lot of nonprofits who get the word out to their clients as well.
Can I add something
Mhm.
specifically to this question? And yeah, I know you're talking about the communities that sometimes don't have access to mainstream. So just want to clarify that when we launch the marketing effort to reach out, it's not going to be like the other campaigns that they are for 2, 3 months there. This is an effort that is going to be for the whole year. For now, this is the first phase. So we're looking, the plan that we're developing from the Mayor's Office of Community Media, it goes until the end of the year. So before the end of the year, we're gonna plan for 25th because this is not, I don't think we're gonna solve this in 2 months.
That's right.
So this is a long-term project. Just wanna keep that in mind, and we're gonna continue looking at the strategy. And if we need to change something in the strategy in the middle, we will do that. Okay. Next one.
And I got a question with the workforce one, since like I just scanned the code and I see like there will be like plenty of helping like for the job seekers who have to find a job. I just wonder like how long it will take for them to have a response and like how like I see that there's a one-to-one like helping you along the way. So is the job seekers will have like helping them until they got a job or like they have to apply for like every time like they have they need to apply for it.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about how workforce?
Sure. So one of the opportunities with the hiring halls is really getting people engaged in the Workforce One system. So once you're in the Workforce One system, you are a client of it, and so you'll be continued to be supported until even after you've gotten a job. Because I was just talking to someone who's like, I've been working for a year and I'm still getting information from Workforce One about trainings, about job opportunities. So that's one of the goals, is to really increase enrollment overall in Workforce One. In terms of when you come into a hiring hall, there are employers, whether public employers or private employers, who are on site screening and interviewing people on site. So again, the response time for a particular opportunity depends on the employer and the job seeker in terms of the timing, but we are trying to really have that happen in real time and as quickly as possible.
So my question is basically about like, so we will have multiple city agencies together in this event. So my question is, what's the difference of this specific program compared with like those like hiring programs in each single like city agencies, and what are the specific advantage of these programs?
So this is where you it kind of, it's a one-stop shop, so you don't have to go to each agency individually. So you'll have lots of agencies all together, as well as private employers. So I think what's different and unique about this is that you have a wide variety of employers all together, all at once, and you can go to different places just right on that same day. Which and understand and see like who all is in attendance. So I think that's a big difference and a big opportunity for these particular hiring halls.
Yep, underscore that. The other thing what we've been really making sure is that there's resource providers there. So we're also looking across sort of training providers, and if they're recruiting for programs for training and upskilling, they're at the hiring halls too. So people have that opportunity, as well as other benefit resources. So for instance, CUNY's there wearing multiple hats. So oftentimes they're there as an employer, but they're also there to really let people know about the programs they have, such as the English language programs and other opportunities.
Pedro Martinez from El Diario newspaper. My question is related to Javier's question. So basically, I would like to make sure that this program is only going to help people with documents. In other words, people with no documents are going to benefit from this or no, and how directly? And also since I just went to the website and I click like offers, employees, jobs offers, but it doesn't get me to like a specific jobs. It's like a little bit confusing. So I just want to make sure that we are going to talk about the program that is really like supported. When they go there and it doesn't happen the thing that is happening with me right now that is like it's not showing any
A specific job.
Yeah, so I'll speak to that. So what happens for each hiring hall, we have a different set of employers, and we're working out right now for the April hiring halls, which ones are going to be at which. So as soon as we have that information, we'll put it on the site and make that available so folks have a sense of which jobs and who's hiring for those particular opportunities.
That is going to show up?
That's a good question. I think the first, I think probably mid next week, we'll have a sense for the one on Friday, and then they'll start coming up after that, because we have hiring halls beginning on Friday, that's the 19th, right? The 19th through April the 29th, and April the 30th.
Michael,
the 30th.
do you have any other insight into that?
No, that's, I think what you're pointing out is socializing information to job seekers to make sure that they're prepared for the hiring halls. Absolutely something we want to do. And if you go to the jobs.nyc.gov website, it's meant to really be the landing page where you see a bunch of groups. 1, city jobs; 2, city workforce and training opportunities; but 3, if you scroll down, you'll see attend a hiring hall. If you go there, it has the Eventbrite where folks and job seekers will register. And I think what we're saying is, as we get folks confirmed, we will post on the Eventbrite or similar prominently on the jobs.nyc website what the opportunities are, so we make sure that folks are appropriately prepared for it. I will also say that part of the flow that we have on the day of the hiring hall is we track a lot of data, and we actually have an orientation before job seekers are released into the hiring hall. And it's not just like, hey, here, congratulations, thanks for making it today. It's really specific to that hiring hall. So we say, here's who's on site today. Here are the benefits and resources that can help you either be close to a job or help you with a barrier that we've identified to getting a job. And so if somebody showed up, and this happens, knowing nothing about what a hiring hall is, our job is to really orient themselves to both the initiative and the day of space so that they can be successful on the day of.
And I will also say that the Jobs NYC site is we expect it to be refined. So if you have feedback and your constituents have feedback, like this is confusing, I need it to be clearer, the navigation of it, we want to hear it because it's new and it needs to be user friendly, it needs to be effective. And so we love to kind of get the feedback on that. And you had a question about undocumented. There's no like obviously restriction. We're not. And we have had certainly people who are undocumented coming to the hiring halls because you can also get access to workforce development programs and other opportunities. So we certainly welcome everyone to come.
But in the real time, they are going to be able to get connected to real jobs.
Employers, absolutely, absolutely. So we did a set of hiring halls last year for just city jobs. We were really facing a lot. I think we had like 22,000 vacancies, and we really were kind of struggling, and we needed to get people on board. And in those hiring halls, there were about 2,000 people that were like literally hired on the spot. They got conditional offers that day. So that is the kind of proximity of opportunity to accessing that opportunity that we're trying to kind of recreate, is that people are really getting connected to jobs in real time.
And can I just add one? Additionally, for one of our Workforce One centers, the one in Washington Heights, is specifically focused on New Yorkers and immigrants. So that is just one thing everyone should be aware of. And we're trying to take all the lessons learned from that and really bringing that to the broader Workforce One system and to these hiring halls. But they do particularly focus on the population we're talking about.
Bronx Daily.
Yes, Gonzalo Duran from the Bronx Daily. I plan to attend one of the hiring halls. I just wanted to ask, since you mentioned the workforce, will there be a veteran representative there for the?
I think the Veterans Affairs Office was there, right?
I don't know if
No,
you were there
maybe.
last week, but they joined certainly in the past hiring halls, and we can certainly make sure that that's something that is inherent in the community as a need.
Yeah.
And I will also add, we have been trying to really focus on sort of the needs of the community, and at every event we've had the Mayor's Office for People with Disabilities really helping to support them, not just through the hiring hall and identifying opportunities, but also really we have a great program, New York City at Work, which focuses on people with disabilities and helps really position them well for opportunity. And then here in the city, we have a 55A program that really prioritizes people who disclose that they're a person with disability, and it's a great opportunity for folks.
So I make sure that the hiring halls Michael has them.
Yeah, we have the dates.
Oh, I have the dates.
You
Yeah.
are invited on your community.
I think we had one more.
There's one more.
Yeah, and yeah, no, hold on, we'll work with you next. So what I'm saying is that please attend this hiring halls and you will see this in action. This is how you get the whole picture of what we're talking today. And when you're there, I'm sure in each one of those neighborhoods that you cover or live, there will be a hiring hall zone. Option TV.
Yes, Roberto Garcia, Option TV. First, one suggestion for the job applicant for the job. Some of the jobs say may need city test or city exam. Will be good if you put what kind of test you need to take and results, so people be familiar, because sometimes you can be applying to different one, but you don't know if it's the same test, different tests. And are you gonna be like there is a sensation sometimes that the city and people get angry because there's information. Get angry because sometimes people feel that you give like more facility to people that new immigrants, more facility to get a job than the people that
I've been here.
supposed to need a job. And this is the sensation of some people that maybe by this information or because they have different political view, there is any way that you can, bring out some information out that tie that perception. And another thing, 15,000 openings. Why is that? It's like a budget, people changing job. Why that many?
I'll start with the last question first. I think a lot of employers have a lot of vacancies post-COVID, right? Coming out of COVID, I think they called it the Great Resignation. Lots of people left the places where they were working and wanted to do something else. And so we had similarly, and we also had a transition of government, right? We went from one mayoralty to another. So we had a lot of turnover that we're still trying to fill. And there's huge demand in some areas. When you think about our health and hospital system, there's a huge need for new workers, a new workforce. The tech, all of our agencies that deal with tech, we have lots and lots of jobs available there, and that also exists in the broader economy here in New York City. And there are industries that are growing and need workers, right? So as we transition to more electronic vehicles and other things, we need green jobs, more jobs that are in this kind of new industry. So I think there's just a lot of opportunity now, which is good. And we want to make sure that we are connecting people kind of to those opportunities. To your second point, I think, kind of making it clear that it's for everybody, right? We're not trying to say, we're going to give more opportunity for new New Yorkers than older New Yorkers, but it's really for everybody. We really want to make sure that the opportunities are specifically for people who've traditionally been left out. So that's why we're looking at those neighborhoods and communities where there are real significant numbers of unemployment. And I don't remember, the first question
was on the test.
Yes, the testing. Yes.
I can speak to that. So when we're working with city agencies, we ask them to bring as many jobs that don't require a test, so that it's an entry-level point where people can come in and then identify tests. We also have folks from DCAS who can speak to the civil service test. So that's one of the resources we make available so folks can better understand the whole process, because we think it's super important to democratize that as much as possible.
One last follow-up question. Would you like?
Yeah, I would like to know if you have any number about like how many vacancies are available in general in the city.
That's
15,000 in the city.
just in New York City as an
City jobs.
employer.
With private sector also.
There's at least hundreds of thousands. It's a huge number, in the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of jobs that are available.
So my question, the hiring halls, how many hiring halls will be conducted in 5 boroughs? And can you give us the breakdown which areas you are going to focus more, the areas which have more?
So we're starting out with what we call a sprint. And so over 6 months, we're doing 5 hiring halls a month, and 1 in each borough. And so after that time is up, we're going to assess, and I'm sure we're going to do more. But I think we have a list of certainly the neighborhoods that we're targeting, but the next hiring halls start on the 19th of April, and it's going to be in Staten Island. And then on the 25th, it's going to be in Brooklyn. The 26th is going to be in the Bronx. The 29th is going to be in Queens, and the 30th is going to be in Manhattan. And so every month we have 1 in each borough, and they're all within like a couple weeks' time.
We will distribute that information, all the details. Yes,
Yeah.
we will distribute that information. Okay, the last one here. That's it.
Are these places already allocated, or do you need specific?
I think we are always looking for spaces.
Yeah.
We need big spaces. So if you have ideas, but I think we have some preliminary spaces now mapped out. And so then this is April, and then May we'll have another 5. June we'll have another 5. So if there are places where you think there would be good to have, we would love to get that feedback. Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody.
If you want people to like, let's say they can go to the one in Manhattan, and they know that I live in the Bronx, but he lives in Manhattan.
That's fine.
That's
Oh,
fine.
yeah,
We're not.
That's fine.
And you can get it, all the information on the hiring halls on jobs.nyc.gov. They're listed there for April.
Places in Bronx, for example, 25th will be in Brooklyn. Where in Brooklyn?
We'll send you. We'll share that information with you after this. If you want to take a picture before the